For about the last 7 or 8 years, I've worked as a contractor doing work in the Middle East with a number of nonprofits. I'm going to try to give a very brief overview in this video of who the Taliban are and where they came from. So we have to jump back a little bit to get a good background for what's going on right now. Throughout history, Afghanistan has been known as a land of warring tribes. This is because there are a number of tribal and ethnic groups within Afghanistan who seem to really only find unity when they're facing an outside power. So during the Cold War, when the Soviet Union came in, there were many Afghans who fought back. They became known as the Mujahideen. That was an example of when these tribes came together to resist the Soviet Union.
At the height of the Soviet-Afghan War, about 6 million women and children fled abroad while the men stayed behind to fight. The refugee kids would later be indoctrinated by Pakistani clerics and turned into the Taliban.
When the Soviet Union left Afghanistan, all these tribes that had come together no longer had an outside force to be unified against. They all had different ideas for government, and so these groups, these tribes all splintered. And it was at that time that the Taliban re-entered the country as a unified religious/political movement. And these youth that had grown up in Pakistan essentially took over the country in 1996. At first, many people in Afghanistan were actually very happy to see the Taliban take over.
So people were happy when the Taliban came?
For a while, yes, because the Taliban could bring peace here. But as you see, they have imposed some laws on people that again put the people in trouble.
The Taliban was not a fan of the Mujahideen because the Mujahideen were seen as being not conservative enough, not Islamic enough. The United States had been on very good terms with the Mujahideen for many years, all through the Cold War. And so in 2001, after 9/11, when the US came back in, many of those people who had supported the Mujahideen were very happy to see that more secular government was being instilled. The Taliban had been thrown out. For the last 5 years, the Taliban had been slowly taking large swaths of countryside, but with the United States pulling out of Afghanistan, that left another power vacuum, and the Taliban quickly took over. Now, as it stands, the Taliban is in control of the main metropolitan areas of Afghanistan. They're instituting Sharia law, removing many of the freedoms that women had been given over the last 20 years. Many people, probably a silent majority of people, are opposed to the Taliban, but a silent majority cannot get as much done as a very loud minority.